Was it uncomfortable? Oh, man, it was uncomfortable. Just like everything else. Just like everything else. You must want something different. So there's a lot of people that are watching this video, and you might be just very complacent. You might be very comfortable. When people ask you what you want, you go, I don't know. And then we sort of got this mentality that we learned from our culture, our upbringing, that what we need to do is we need to be grateful. We need to be grateful for who we are and where we are. So if you want to be grateful, then how are you going to hit the next level? And this is how you do that. I might as well say that point right there. Is you start doing things for others instead of yourself, instead of your family. You start setting your goals, even with income, based on your contribution and based on your giving. You are here to make a difference. You were created to make a difference. You can do this. If other people have done it, you can do this. You can do this. So going back to the point that I was making is that I learned that I need to focus on one thing. My mentor said, Robert, listen, I know there's a lot of stuff to learn and you're going to learn that. But what I need you to do is I need you to do one thing, and continue to do that one thing so that you can get results. So you can get results. When you get results and your mind goes, oh, okay, get it. So you start on the intellectual, contact where you go, wow, this makes sense. I was telling my wife today that there was only two reasons really that I got involved in direct sales. I didn't even know what it was. It's marketing. And believe it or not, there's really, Peter Drexler says it best. He's probably one of the best business philosophers out there today. You're either inventing or innovating something, and then you're marketing it. Everything else is in support of that. So if you're not an inventor or a person that takes an invention and innovates it, then if you get good, really, really good at marketing, you can write your paycheck. Because there's people all over the planet, everywhere, that are not only making things and innovating things that people need, but there's people that want them. And if you could show them the value and the benefit of it, they're going to take their hard-earned money or their credit and they're going to give it to you. And so a lot of people go, well, I'm not an inventor. I'm not an innovator. So what you do is you find someone that creates the product or service or course or training, right? And then what you do is you learn to market it. And if you learn to market it and you really get these points down, game over. You can make as little or as much as you want, and you can do it fast. All these limiting beliefs that people have about how long it takes to become successful are all in their mind. They're totally in their mind. To give you a neat example, when you see people like Mark Zuckerberg and how fast he became, the owner of Facebook became successful. But guess what? There's people that win the lotto. You know what I mean? So one day they might not have any money and the next day they're worth hundreds of millions. So the whole concept in our mind about, it takes forever to make money. You know what? When you really find out from people that are successful, once they figured out the thing that they needed to do to master to get results. So it starts from the intellectual side, which most of us got to get out of our thinking head. How many people would agree? And if you're still hearing me and seeing me perfect, how many people would agree that they overthink virtually everything? And overthinking, go ahead and type yes, or I agree in the chat. And one of the things is that if you're an overthinker, that's because you don't take what you know. Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Sue, Todd, Karen. Thank you very much. This is awesome, Alicia. Okay, so think about this. What we do is we never take it from the intellectual side, the mind side, to the emotional side, the heart side. See, that's a different place of mastery. You got to take it from this here to this here. Now, if you guys know anything about marketing, this is where you hear the words ignorance on fire. You see these people that they don't know anything. And some of you, if you remember, maybe the first time that you seen a business opportunity, or the first time, like you get involved in a relationship or something like that, when you're in that honeymoon phase, see, that's ignorance on fire. And see, it's not intellectual, it's all emotional. Now, how many of you can relate to this? So when people say, oh, well, wow, you look a little tired. Yeah, I was up all night. Why was you up all night? Oh, yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend, or I was talking to my fiance or my wife. It's like all night? Yeah, all night. Is that analytical or is that emotional? Hey, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I drove for 4.5 hours. Went to Billings. Why'd you do that? To see my girlfriend. Why would you do that? I love her. Yeah, but you drove all the way there 4.5 hours. You spent a little time with her, and then you had to come back 4.5 hours. Yeah. See, that's emotional. That's not analytical, because everybody around you goes, you've got to be out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind. So how do you take what you love, what you're passionate about, and take it from the analytical side to the emotional side? It's very, very simple. It's through a word called belief. Belief. All right. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, how do you go from the emotional? And let me share with each of whatever we talk: analytical, then emotional. And then the last stage is this confidence. So how many of you know what confidence is? Think about that. I want you to think about it. What is confidence? Let me give you the easiest one. How about tying your shoe? How about brushing your teeth? Are you confident with tying your shoe? Well, at one time, you didn't even know shoes needed to be tied. That's the unconscious incompetent, right? And then all of a sudden someone said, you should tie your shoes. And I was going like, wow, is this like something that I necessarily need? Yeah, you need to do this. If you don't trip, you'll trip on your shoelaces, right? Okay, so now they show me, they tell me, that's where a lot of you are right now. They tell me and show me, it sounds like a great idea. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. So now all of a sudden I'm trying to tie my shoes and people are teaching me, and I'm getting frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. This is a pain in the butt. I can't do this. You actually say those words out of your mouth. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Why? Because you're trying to tie your shoe and everybody else ties their shoe. So now you can't tie your shoe. So now you're feeling stupid. Now what you do is you got people making fun of you. You see what I mean? So now all of a sudden you're in this mentality where this isn't fun. Then all of a sudden you keep doing that one thing, not all the things, that causes overwhelm, confusion, frustration, procrastination, which is suicide on the installment plan. And what you do is you do it once. And as soon as you do it once, you're usually pretty young, then everybody goes, yay! Yay, Curtis! Yay, Curtis! Yay, Steve! Yay, Judy! And you're like, I tied my shoe. Next couple times, might fail again. Then all of a sudden you got it. Then you got it. Then you got it. Then you got it. Then you got it. So now all of a sudden you go from that, unconscious incompetent to conscious incompetent, to now you're at that place where it comes from confidence. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden you're unconscious competent, which means you don't have to think while you're driving. You're driving around, you can eat a donut, you can, comb your hair, women can put on makeup, you shouldn't be texting or talking on your phone, but you're doing all of these things while you're driving. And guess what? What ended up happening now? I was showing my wife a video where a couple was driving down the freeway and they're in a new Tesla technology, and they're in a new Tesla, and the Tesla's driving itself on autopilot. So they were playing cards, they were playing around with lightsabers, they were sleeping, they were reading their book. How many of us are going to freak out when we start seeing a number of electric cars that are on the freeway that are driving themselves? I mean, I guess you got to have an alarm clock in them or something. When they finally get to their destination, it beeps and says, listen, where do I go from here? So, but pretty hilarious, right? So anyway, going back, I learned one thing. And that one thing is I had to get good. Now, was it uncomfortable? Oh, man, it was uncomfortable. Just like everything else. Just like everything else. Asking someone on a dance, doing anything for the first time. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, we're unsure. Yes, we're fearful. False emotions appearing real. So now we're in this state, and now all of a sudden you do it. So I had to learn that one step, which is how to properly say hello. You know what I mean? And when I could learn to say hello to somebody and they would say hi back, then I had to learn to really quickly do this peak of interest along with, edifying and promoting and getting the person to give me their number. In this day and age, you've seen some of my courses. If you haven't, I'll share where you can go, lifemechanic.com, to do this all online. But that's not what this webinar is for. This webinar is to tell you exactly what we went through. So once I got it, and here's where people just won't do this. If you've gotten good at driving, if you've gotten good at communications, if you've gotten good at sending an email, if you've gotten good at using Facebook, if that you've gotten used to and good at doing everything that you used to not be good at. I wanted to go slow so that would sink in. So if there's all these things that you never used to be good at, including reading, everything, and now you're good at them, it comes from a very simple statement. Is repetition. Doing it over and over and over is the mother of skill. You learn to tie your shoes. You learn to do everything by finding one thing that we can get in our mind and show that we can get that confidence by actually getting a result. Not trying to do 1,000 things, because if you're doing 1,000 things, it comes to procrastination. Let me give you a great story. I can remember when I first heard this story because I went, wow, it really resonated with me. When I was younger, the number one things that I focus on is my health. I was not only in martial arts, was a black belt in Taekwondo, and my sons actually achieved the same rank. And there became a time where if I wasn't in the studio of martial arts, I was at the gym working out. And so a lot of dedication went to getting in shape and building muscle and practicing in martial arts. And my sensei was Simon Rhee. If any of you want to know who he is, he's the guy that's always fighting in Mel Gibson's movies. So if you remember the scene where the mobile home is going down, it's got plastic on the side. Mel Gibson's fighting him in there. So, he not only sparred with Chuck Norris and Superfoot Wallace. Sorry for you get on a little tangent there, but I was even back then, before I got into marketing, I was seeking the best of the best of the best. And so Simon Rhee was getting me to do certain things, and I would be practicing, and I had it down. I had this move perfectly down. And you turn around and you say the statement, listen, how long do I got to keep doing this move? How long do I have to keep doing this move? And he says, until you master it. And I said, man, I've been doing it for days. And he goes, yeah, every time you do it, it's different. Did you guys get that? Did you guys get that pop of mastery? Because when he does the move, the speed, where his hand is, the way his feet are, the power, the movement, when he does it, he's a master. It's always the same. When I'm doing it, it's always different. Can anyone, as I said that, does that relate to you? When you pique someone's interest or you make the first initiation on a chat on Facebook by finding somebody on a website and you like their post and you make a comment, and then you get that person to interact, and then you get that person and ask them, listen, I would like to Is it possible for me to send you a friend request and then you get them in chat? Are all your chats different? Is all your peaking different? Have you mastered it? Or are you doing different moves all the time, never perfecting anything, never mastering anything? Can I get an amen? Because I know that I wanted to get it down. Not that it's going to work on everybody. That's impossible. But I wanted to get my peaking and inviting and giving away stuff for reciprocity. I wanted to get a sequence down. I wanted to get a sequence down that was like 10% to 20% to 30% to 50% to 80%. When you get a sequence down that is comfortable, that it's like tying your shoe, you start getting results, you start building confidence. And now that's when you guys hear this whole concept out there where people go, man, for me to be able to talk to somebody about being a customer for me is no different than you tying your shoe, than you driving your car. I do it unconscious competent because it's just second nature for me. It's what I do every day. It's what I've done for years. Like Larry said, without a doubt, way over 10,000 hours of practice, way over 10,000 hours. So you want to get in that thing and you want to figure out something that you can do. So I want to get back to that one thing. You want to figure out something that you know that works. And here's one of the crazy things that we do as human beings. Why we do it, I don't know. I do it. I still do it. Is someone that's successful, that's documented, that's helped other people use that sequence or that pattern, and they got results. We have a tendency of trying it, then it doesn't work, so we do something different. I do it too. I don't know why human beings do that, but they get frustrated and now they don't have an authority or a coach or a mentor or someone that will hold their feet to the fire and go, stop thinking, stop overthinking, stop being a baby. This is how you do it. Now do it. See, we don't do that to ourselves. So we try and it didn't work, so we just do something else. And then we add some words to it. And then we do a different sequence. And then we buy a different software. And then we go from Facebook to Twitter. And then Twitter to Instagram. And then Instagram to Snapchat. And then we get into another company. And then we sell another product. And then we get into another company. And we just keep going, blah, 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 blah. That would be, honestly, man, I'm glad this analogy hit my head. It's like I'm trying to teach you to tie your shoes. And what you do is you take the shoes off and you throw the shoes away and you put on another pair of shoes and you go, these don't work either. I still can't tie these shoes. And you take those shoes off and you throw them away and you put on another pair and you go, this is stupid. These don't work either. This doesn't work for me. Did anybody get anything from that? See, you got to find and know that if one thing is working, you got to do that one thing. Again, if you're great at marketing, we talked about this one, other than inventing and innovating, when you learn to market, which is very simply, build a rapport with somebody that you don't know. Once you got that rapport and you do reciprocity, here's the next step. You got to understand that the person that gives the most wins every single time. And if you don't get into the mentality, the philosophy, 80% philosophy, 20% on what to do and how to do, if you're not thinking about giving valuable content all the time, all day, it needs to be just like breathing. And if you're not giving, people don't give a rip about what you are, who you are, what you've done, what you're marketing, what company you're with. They don't care. I know that might be startling to you, but they got too much going on. They got way too much going on. Hey, you want to be healthier? Here, check out my link. Get out of here. Because people don't care what you know until they know that you care. You got to resist. You got to stop sending links. You got to build rapport. You got to give something as a gift, reciprocity. If you don't do it, if you cut that process out, you will fail. You will not build momentum. You will not build a following. You gotta do it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Have a blessed day.